If you'd like to try what we make at Superstition, it's as easy as going to our website, superstitionmeadery.com, clicking on Web Store, and you're shopping. Make sure you follow us on social media because we release new products almost every week, and you might just find your next favorite craft beverage. Cheers. So Kim, we just pulled 4 samples of 4 of our 6 2022 Guild bottles that are still in process. These meads are either fermenting and actually 2 of the 6 are still fermenting, right? Or just about done, so it wasn't appropriate to pull a sample because we'd be getting some yeasty flavors that we didn't want. But these 4 are aging on or wrapping up the fermentation process on wood or fruit or different herbs and spices. So I think we should talk about each one of these 4 of the 6 Guild bottles. But you know, it's kind of fun because we came up with this concept as a group in our big Tuesday afternoon meeting over several meetings back in the fall, and we came up with names and label concepts. And this is the first time we get to actually try these and see how it's going because the clock's ticking. We've got about 8 weeks before the Guild gathering.
Yep, it's time to get them going.
Cool. So you were able to source this honey yourself. Tell us about Acacia Blaze.
All right, Acacia Blaze is made with a monsoon honey. A beekeeper here in Arizona named Dolan developed this honey with his bees. We had a really lush summer here with lots of wildflower blooms, and the bees just had so much fun. So this honey that we used in Acacia Blaze is really the epitome of Arizona wildflower honey.
This is exciting to try. So the acacia plant is something that we have in the desert, in the Sonoran Desert, and so we thought Acacia Blaze would be a fun name because it's representing this explosion of the desert wildflower flora that went into this.
Right. And this is aged on light toast American oak for about 4 weeks now, so it's almost done.
So we're circulating this on oak. We have a pump that goes really slow. We've got staves in a fermenter, and it's just slowly circulating this. And alcohol is a solvent, and so it's going to interact with the wood that's in the mead, and it's going to pull out flavor and aroma. These chemical compounds, chemical in the nice sense of the word, like we're all made up, everything in the world is made of chemicals. The air we're breathing is chemicals, right? But there are esters and phenols, these really cool compounds that come out of mead making and fermentation where it's, you know, you're gonna try one thing in the honey and then it's gonna be completely different sometimes. Sometimes you'll have like an orange blossom honey where you can smell and taste orange blossom in the mead that came from the honey, and you never really know, unless you've done this before, what you're gonna get. We've never used this honey. We also, I don't really think we've ever used light toast American oak. So like, I'm looking at this barrel right here, and it's got an M and a TH on it, right? And so barrels have codes. And that tells me that this was a medium toasted barrel with toasted heads, American oak from Missouri, and that's a really common barrel that we'll use, medium or medium plus toasting. And so when the cooper or the barrel maker is actually cooking the inside of the staves, it's gonna chemically change what the wood is made of. And so the lignin, like the fiber that makes wood, is gonna change into vanilla if you cook it long enough. But if you don't, then it's gonna have other flavors. And I'm excited to see what this is, because with light toast oak, I'm expecting a very woody, assertive character without the coconut or the vanilla or the coffee or the chocolate that we get from medium to heavy toast or even charred barrels that could be smoky. We weren't going for that with this particular mead. We wanted this awesome traditional mead, but we wanted to balance out what would be some residual sweetness and maybe adding something to the aroma and the mouthfeel with light toast oak.
I'm smelling a lot of marshmallow on the nose.
Wow.
And some fruit.
So that's going to be coming from the honey versus the wood.
And there is a touch of vanilla in there. I'm getting a little vanilla.
Wow. And so I'm excited to see how this is. All right, I got to try it. So it sounds and feels ridiculous, but if you like slurp your mead, like you slurp your noodles if you're, you know, traveling in Asia and you want to fit in, it feels ridiculous, but it aerates the product in your mouth across the mid palate and into the finish. I'm getting that oak, and it is lending structure to the mouthfeel of this traditional mead that wouldn't be there by itself. It'd be sweet and delicious, and you're right. There is a marshmallow and a vanilla flavor. I think that's coming from the honey, which when I tried this honey, I wasn't expecting that. Right. So that's fun to see how the yeast that we choose and how the honey interact together to create these different combinations of these esters and phenols. But then it's kind of balanced with this, and the wood's there. It's definitely not overdone.
Right. There's a bit of a spiciness to it too. I want to say just a touch of cinnamon.
Yeah. I think I'm thinking about the words that you said and the words that I said and how they come together. And when I think about like oak, like that's like a spice. And I think it's working with that marshmallow flavor, and it's like almost tropical without being tropical. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm getting some cinnamon in there. Mm-hmm. That is cool.
It's fun. It's so simple. This is honey, water, and yeast. It's like the most simple mead you can make. And it's just that oak aging. It brings out so much complexity.
Wow. This is just outstanding. Really nice mouthfeel. It's not cloying. Cloying is a term that means like too sweet. Like if you did the Super Troopers challenge and drank a bottle of maple syrup, that would be cloying. Like you don't necessarily want that in your product. But there is a sweetness there that's really pleasant that, like, I mean, you never had an unsweet marshmallow, right? And so I don't think we would taste that, or even vanilla by itself. Like I've done a super dry mead that was over vanillaed in the past, at the moment anyways, and it can get like a bitterness from the vanilla bean. But most things that you have, whether it's an ice cream or, I mean, you think about vanilla as often in desserts, right? Or even in a cake or a muffin or something, it's gonna have a bit of sweetness in there so you can taste the pleasantness of the vanilla. So it's definitely on the sweeter side, not too sweet for anything that we've done, like Portuguese blindfold,
right.
But it's pleasant, the flavors are popping, but yeah, there's this balance of spice and oak. That is really nice.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I think a couple more weeks on there, pull that off. It's beautiful, it's not even filtered yet, but when that's filtered, it'll be really bright and shiny. And filtering in the winemaking world is often referred to as polishing. And so we'll actually help polish this, bring some of those flavors together through that process. And you're also, just be as careful as we are, you can't help but introduce a certain amount of oxygen into the process when you're transferring something between fermenters, tanks, barrels, or whatnot. And if you do it in a controlled fashion, it actually can lend a benefit to the development of the product.
Totally.
I think in 8 weeks, people are going to be really psyched on this.
Me too.
So that was the first mead we came up with. The first concept was, let's do a traditional and then move through some crazy adjuncty special ingredient flavors. But let's talk about the guild for a second. So this goes back to 2015. I know I had just opened the tasting room in Prescott, and you had come in before you worked for us then, because we got to know each other back in the day. And we wanted to create a program that would really allow us an opportunity to engage with who would become our most devoted customers and the fan base of Superstition. And I know every year we have, about half of the folks renew the guild membership, then we get some new folks. We've grown it over the years, and it's been a really cool program. The primary benefit of which is you're gonna get now 6 different meads that are basically only available to the guild. And there's other benefits as well. So what are some of those benefits?
Well, you get 20% off on our web store and when you shop at the Prescott Tasting Room or Superstition Downtown all year long. So, I mean, that's a great discount if you're coming in and getting dinner at Superstition Downtown. The membership pays for itself really quickly. We have a private guild web store just for our guild members where you get early releases on new releases and you get your 20% off there. And tickets for 2 to the annual guild gathering, which we're having this year. It's been a couple years because of COVID. So we finally get to throw a party, and we can't wait.
Oh yeah, we were ready to do the Melomel Masquerade in March of 2020, and a week before the world just ended. And so we're so stoked to bring it back. And when we started doing guild gatherings, one of the motivations was that, there's kind of a stereotype that, there's a guy, he belongs to a bunch of beer clubs, and maybe his girlfriend or wife's kind of like, well, why are you spending all this money on beer, right? And I'm not really a part of that world. And that's just a stereotype, but it's something that we found, and we wanted to change that a little bit. And we wanted to really make it a special thing for couples in a big way. And so that when you join our guild, you get a +1 invitation, no matter who it is. You can bring a friend, wife, husband, whoever, to the event. And so it's a fun way for you and a friend or your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, whatever, to come and party with us. And so when you come to the party, you're gonna be able to try all of your guild bottles for free. We have a passport, and so we're gonna have different pouring stations set up, so you get a stamp, And you don't have to open your bottles to know what they taste like. And that's like the reveal. That's the first time anyone gets to really know what the guild's like. So that's really special. You also get music and food, and there's always these ancillary events and releases that happen around that weekend. Tours of this place.
Sam and I met this morning and had breakfast, and we talked about
What'd you come up with?
the other special kegs that we're going to have at the party, and there's some really cool products that are going to be available at the party this year. We're really excited about them.
So if you're a guild member, or if you're considering setting up a membership program for your brewery, meadery, winery, cidery, distillery, whatever it is, it's a great opportunity to allow your core folks to have access first to many of the special things that come out. And so we do that through the web store. And so we're careful, we've learned over the years, to commit in certain ways, right? So we say almost every release. So if we miss one, we don't get called out, because our folks really do pay attention to what we're doing, and we couldn't care more about it. And we also want to, give them the absolute best service, right? But for real, because I know every Tuesday we're like, what's coming out next? And we're going to put this on the Guild web store first, because sometimes we'll do something and it really is limited, that's a special release, and we kind of think, hey, we only have 4, 5, 10 cases, whatever, going online. It's going to sell out quick. So let's let our guild members have first crack at it, which is kind of cool. And then we'll even do we've done ticketed dinners for our guild members as well, where you're going to have access to those tickets, and that's just such a cool time to walk around. If you're able to attend our event because you're traveling or live in Arizona, face to face to talk to folks. So the guild it's really cool. And something that you keep saying whenever we talk about the guild is it's really a cool extension of what we do, and the fact that the guild members are able to interact with our production staff, even some of our sales folks, with you who run the guild in such an awesome way, with Jen and I as the owners of the company. We stop what we're doing. I had a guild member, so I stopped by Superstition downtown yesterday, and I'm walking out with Logan, and I see a guild member, and I just stopped what I was doing, bought him a drink, hung out and talked for a few minutes. It's so cool.
Yeah, I feel like I have some really close friends now through engaging in the guild, and I think that a lot of guild members become really close friends through our parties and through meeting at the restaurant and at the tasting room. It's a very cool program.
So I think we should try our next potential work in progress here. So this is Tropic of Calamansi. We've got mangoes and papayas.
And calamansi.
So we've never worked with calamansi. It's a subtropical fruit, or tropical fruit, from Southeast Asia originally. It looks like a lime. It can be even yellowish and look a little bit like a lemon. It's more of that kind of lime orange shape, but the skin is green typically, and the inside it looks like an orange. And it's like a mix of all of those fruits together. And we thought we could have this bright citrus quality to balance out what could be a rich, maybe even funky papaya quality. And then, mango's just awesome.
Delicious.
And we've never used Spanish cedar.
Yeah, it's an experiment. It smells amazing.
Oh my God. I don't think I've ever smelled anything like that.
It's tropical, it's citrusy. It's got some vanilla undertones.
It is just popping in that is one of the most unique aromas of anything that we've ever made, for sure. It looks beautiful. Again, unfiltered. We just pulled this out of the fermenter.
It's so good.
You're right. Vanilla is flowing out of there as well. And maybe that's a combination of these different tropical fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
This will be a popular one, for sure.
That is outstanding. And there's a little bit of this cedary quality, again, in the finish. It doesn't hit you up front, because that sweetness, that tropical bouquet is just floating between your palate and your nose, and you're sensing all of these amazing flavors. And then as I'm exhaling, I'm tasting vanilla with a hint of cedar in the end. And the cedar, it sticks in the very roof of my mouth. And I think that the cedar and the tropical flavors work together to create a piquant character. Mm-hmm. It's bright and savory.
Yep.
I'm getting that papaya funkiness. I love papaya. It's kind of a weird fruit. I think it can be polarizing, where some folks are like, no, that tastes weird, and other people are like, that's the best thing in the world.
Right.
And I'm getting that working with, what's funny is I get the citrus as like a pop, but I think I'm tasting more papaya than mango. And then I've also, through experience, know that like when we filter and polish this, mango may come back up. You don't know. Like we're still in this very young phase of this product, and it's only been on the wood, an unknown wood to us, for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks, I think.
I think it almost, I don't know what the gravity is. Like, I don't know if it's technically sweeter than Acacia Blaze that we just had, but I think the mouthfeel is so full that it's presenting as just like a notch above in sweetness to me, but in a really pleasant way. And that's cool because it goes with the fruit that we're using here, because when you eat a ripe papaya or a mango, it's gonna be sweet. It's supposed to be. All right, so hey, what's next on our list?
It's a Marion Shadow. It's boysenberry, sweet cherry, raspberry, and it will have golden raisins in it, or more golden raisins. We have a bowl of
Those
golden
are
raisins here.
the biggest raisins I think I've ever seen.
So I think we should try the mead and take
Should
a
we
bite
try
of it.
first and then try raisin?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
That is gorgeous. That looks like the richest port I've ever poured.
Yeah, you can smell the boysenberry right away. And the raspberry.
Yeah, so boysenberry is a little bit more like a blueberry. It has a unique flavor to it, but it's not going to be as tart as a raspberry. So the raspberry is going to add a nice tartness to this. And then sweet cherry. It's hard to beat a perfectly sweet cherry. There's a spice I'm getting in here for sure, in the nose.
That is a big mellow.
Wow. I'm getting a little smoke in the nose.
It's a little leathery.
Yeah.
In a really nice way. You smell kind of like leather and tobacco.
That is like smoke, leather, tobacco. Absolutely. Well done. This is ridiculous.
It's really good.
I mean, there are days where I want lager Maste Oro, most days, honestly, and it's, dry, mesquite, bourbon barrel aged, and then there's times where, lately I've been doing flights of our spirit barrel aged aphrodisias.
Right.
Like, I'll go in and just be like, guys, just pour me like a double of each of those, like the vermouth and the rum, the gin, the bourbon. Our production staff was suggesting that we add raisins, so I think this is kind of like a mini bench trial, right? It's a form of bench trial, is to take a sample of something and actually try the fruit that you're thinking of adding and see, is this going to make it better?
These are Turkish sultana raisins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It adds like a mellow touch. There's something in the raisins that's really like earthy and mellow.
I think it contributes to the mouthfeel and the flavor, and even if you're not going to be able, for me, it's one of the more challenging ingredients to pick apart. Like, I get the raspberry tartness, I get the boysenberry, I get the sweet cherry. I think the raisins they're kind of standing in the wings, supporting the cast, and they have a valuable job, even if you won't be able to separate it in your mind. I don't know, it's challenging for me. And I know we just ate one, so it's easy to separate it in your mind in that way. It's almost like jammy when you're chewing on a raisin and trying it with this fruit.
Right.
But that is a beautiful fruit to add to this, to lend some structure and flavor. This would stand up with the craziest food you could possibly. I'm thinking like a medium rare. I mean, I always go to like lamb chop and I'm thinking steak. I'm thinking like tri-tip with some crazy Santa Maria spice cooked over red oak in the traditional way. Yeah, Santa Maria tri-tip with this, and you're going to be in heaven. And maybe some roasted vegetables on the side. Oh man, it's good to be a guild member this year.
Oh yeah, they got some good stuff coming.
All right, so we have another mead to try, Tonga Berry. Allow me.
Yeah, this
Kim,
one
tell us
has
about Tonga Berry.
Boysenberry, plum, tart cherry, black currant, Tongan vanilla, and Kokuto sugar. I'm really excited to try this one.
So in the brewing world, we refer to special ingredients as adjuncts, which isn't the sexiest word in the world. So I kind of like saying both, because if you're a craft beer fan, you're going to know exactly what we say. When we say adjuncts, your mind's going to go to cacao and vanilla and stuff like that, even wood perhaps. But these are they're special ingredients on top of the honey and the fruit that are contributing the alcohol, the sugar into this beverage that defines it as being something made in a winery. Oh wow.
So much vanilla.
Yeah.
Tongan vanilla, like crazy.
So our production staff was able to source this Tongan vanilla, and we bought the last bag available from this company, and they said these beans were the plumpest, juiciest vanilla beans that we'd ever seen. This is going to be really cool. And I know that vanilla began its journey in Veracruz in Mexico, and as it spread around the world through the age of exploration and trade, different species happened to pop up. And so I know my favorite vanilla before this, well, we'll see if this is my favorite now, is Tahitian vanilla, but in the South Pacific, they'll grow what they call Tahitian vanilla in Papua New Guinea and other islands. And that's kind of like this like really cool name that has been attributed like Tahiti, right? It just summons these cool romantic visions. But Tonga, being in the South Pacific, it could be a very similar species, but you never know about, the growing conditions that led to this, the terroir, if you will, of a tropical island contributing to a vine that made this vanilla bean.
We get the plum in the nose too.
Wow. That is so complex and heading in an amazing direction.
Ooh, it's tart.
Yeah.
Juicy.
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of
Oh my
flowing
gosh.
back and forth across the palate
It's
between
so fun,
those.
and it keeps going. It goes tart, juicy, and then it gets into that vanilla undertone, and it kind of lingers in that vanilla.
It's dynamic. This is one of the most dynamic flavor profiles and mouthfeels I've ever had, because you're right. You've got the tartness and the smoothness and the juiciness, and it's just ebbing and flowing.
That's so fun to drink.
This is going to be fun to pair with food, because as you're eating and chewing and the oxygen's mixing up and taking a sip of this, it's decadent and it's rich, but it is just so dynamic.
Right. And this is aging on medium plus toast French oak. So it's only been on 2 weeks, so it should stay on for a little bit longer, and that'll develop a lot of character.
Yeah, so, and this is something that in having a guild program like we do, we're always having to balance, all right, logistics and time and the labels and the proofing process. And I mean, everything's, approved up to the point of the label's almost done. We turn it in, we know we're good on time, but then what if this wood keeps getting better?
Right.
And then we're like, all right, how much time do we need to allow our staff to be able to package this and label this and get it out in time? But yeah, that oak is showing its qualities already, and I just want more of it.
Right. I'm stoked about this one.
This is awesome. And I think it's also worth noting that we've never made any of these products before. We haven't even used the woods that are in the first two ever before. And so that's what we try and do with our guild, is provide the best possible imaginations of everyone and our production staff, and even our sales staff contribute to this. And how do we make this the most unique guild year ever? That's our goal every single year. And we hold these products to the highest standard, where I would be psyched to enter any of these in the most stringent competitions.
Totally.
And if they didn't happen to win, well, that's the judges were drunk. I don't know, because these are outstanding for what they are.
Yeah, I'm excited to present these to the guild for sure. I think they'll be really happy this year.
Right on. Cheers.
Cheers.